Welcome back to the Morning Kickoff Show. I am your host, Matt Witt, and we are here to recap a Minnesota Vikings 33-30 win over Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. You guys, I have never done an episode on this show where I'm filled with this much adrenaline. The Vikings have just beat the Buffalo Bills, the MVP frontrunner, the ranked best defense in the league. Yeah, the best defense in the league. They gave up an 81-yard touchdown to Dalvin Cook, the best defense in the league. They gave up nearly 200 passing yards or 200 receiving yards to Justin Jefferson. And the Vikings take care of business on an away game to progress to 8-1 on the season on a 7-straight win streak. Kirk Cousins might not have played his best day of football, but like we've seen in multiple games this year, Kirk Cousins doesn't need to play his best game of football as the Vikings can win in multiple different ways. And I have never seen the Vikings win in such a odd fashion like they did in this game. Just as expected, this game was a roller coaster of emotions and it came down to the wire. Refs bail out the Buffalo Bills to force an overtime, as the refs tend to do in the NFL. Every league has an officiating problem where they try to make it go into overtime. Let's be completely honest. This is not an opinion. This is what we've seen multiple times. Gabe Davis clearly did not complete that reception, and they also had a couple pass interferences that were controversial, some holding calls. At the end of the day, for the Vikings, Minnesota, a Minnesota sports team, to be able to overcome adversity like they did in this game, where it looked like the game was over in the first half when the Buffalo Bills were ahead. I believe it was 24-10. Vikings got the ball to start the second half and did nothing with it. Went back to the Buffalo Bills and they extended their lead, yet the Vikings continued to have faith. The Vikings continued to play at a very high pace on the offensive side of the ball with a Dalvin Cook 81-yard rushing touchdown. And I just want to take a second on this show to recap how great our blocking has been since we added TJ Hawkinson. To see our offensive line be this good in run blocking this season and able to step up in pass protection when you're playing a team that has Von Miller, future Hall of Famer, Ed Oliver, one of the best defensive linemen in the league, Matt Milano, they have Tremaine Edmonds. Now, he didn't play a full game in this game, but they still have a defense that is very good at getting to the passer, yet Kirk Cousins had time inside the pocket. And with that time, he might not have had one of the best days of his career. But like we've seen with this Minnesota Vikings, we are not asking our quarterback to be great. We aren't. We have seen teams win with mediocre quarterbacks, and I'm going to be completely honest. Kirk Cousins is an above-average quarterback. Is he great? No. Is he Josh Allen level, Patrick Mahomes level? Absolutely not. You can put him on a tier, however high of a tier that you want, as long as you don't put him as high of a tier as you put Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and these other guys. Let's be honest. The Vikings are now a Super Bowl team. Oh, we haven't beat anyone yet. We haven't beat anyone. Oh, Vikings, 7 straight wins. Well, they're trash, right? They haven't beat anyone. They got destroyed from the Philadelphia Eagles on an away game in the hardest place to play. Yeah. We're a completely different team than we were in week 2. And you see it with this energy. You see it with this offense. You see it with this defense who really came together. Going after the first 4 weeks of this season, I mentioned how this Vikings defense is very, very, very poor, giving up explosive plays to every team that they played. Yet going into this game, having one of the best pass rushing duos in the league now, Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith have come together, have finally been able to meet at the quarterback. Our secondary has players who are stepping up into the role and coming up with big-time plays game after game after game. Harrison Smith, previously 3 straight interceptions. Patrick Peterson, game-sealing interception to win this game. Our Vikings defense has finally come together. And then taking a look at the stats for this game. And like I mentioned many times on the show, and I'll mention again, if you did not watch this game, if you did not watch all 4 quarters of this game, do not look at the stats. Because stats do not tell the full story. Stats tell a portion of the story. Vikings gave up 485 to the Buffalo Bills. That should not have been 485. I mean, Gabe Davis, that was not a completion whatsoever. There's not even debating that. Some controversial calls in the mix as well. At the end of the day, Vikings had 64 penalty yards, same as the Buffalo Bills, who had 7 penalties for 64 yards on top of this. That aside, I mean, don't look at stats if you didn't watch the game, because it only tells a portion of the story. But I'm here to tell you what portion of the story I saw. And that was that the Minnesota Vikings are finally a Super Bowl team. Oh, they haven't beat anyone yet. Oh, they've been beating bad teams by in the fourth quarter, game-winning drives and winning against Washington, winning against garbage team at the end of the games. Oh, well, we just beat who many of those critics said is the best team in the league in their own stadium with a healthy Josh Allen. A Josh Allen that played lights out in the first half. And the Minnesota Vikings come up with their 7th straight victory, moving to 8-1 in the season. Biggest lead in a division in the entire league. 8-1 Minnesota Vikings. Just knocked Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills off of their throne. And they didn't need to do it with a fully healthy team. They didn't need to do it in a beautiful performance. Christian Darrisaw, a Caleb Evans, 2 breakout stars for the Vikings this season, went down with concussions. We saw Blake Brandel come out and did not have a great day, but at the end of the day, for a backup left tackle, he had a good day. Andrew Booth Jr., the rookie, coming out there, holding his own. Minnesota Vikings, 33-30 in overtime over the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look at some Viking stats here, because this stat line is unbelievable. Dalvin, the Chef, Cook. 14 carries for 119 yards, 8.5 carries, and a touchdown. 8.5 carries, including an 81-yard rushing touchdown that put the Vikings in the game. Gave the Vikings some energy to come back into this game. Dalvin Cook, looking like old Dalvin Cook again. Explosive from the backfield. The shifty running back who puts the Vikings in the right position to succeed. Vikings have won in multiple different ways. We're not asking Kirk Cousins to throw 300-plus yards, passing yards like he did in this game. We're not asking him to throw 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a game like he didn't do in this game. We are just asking the Minnesota Vikings to win in multiple different ways and in multiple different atmospheres, which they have been able to do this entire season. Going to Miami in the dreadful heat and coming up with the victory. Going to Buffalo, the toughest place to play, some people will claim, in the awful snowy weather, and coming up with a victory. 7 straight victories for the Minnesota Vikings to progress to 8-1 in the season. Justin freaking Jefferson, the best receiver in the league. I saved him for last to talk about here because he deserves to be waited for. He deserves to get an entire new segment for this show. And we will continue to talk about Jefferson because he is the best receiver in the league. 10 receptions for 193 yards and a touchdown. Now, this might not be the best statistical game for Justin Jefferson because he's had some great days, including week 1 where he played the Green Bay Packers. And how many did he have? 2 touchdowns, 184 yards. Oh, this is the most receiving yards of his career. Okay. Maybe it is the best game of his career. And in the fourth quarter, I'm going to have to continue to talk about this because the Vikings just won and I'm filled with adrenaline and I had to do this episode. Into the fourth quarter, Justin Jefferson made the greatest catch in Vikings history. I believe it was 4th and 15, a one-handed catch where he fully extended his body on a contested catch and came down with it. One-hander to put the Vikings back in the game. A game that felt unwinnable. A game that felt over. And the Vikings come up with a big-time play to Jefferson. Oh, he didn't stop there. They went back to him on another 4th down. They continued to go back to him. He led them to their game-scoring drive, putting them 1st and goal at the 2-yard line, where the Vikings were able to win the game on a game-winning drive. Defense came up huge once again. How many games have it been this season where the Vikings defense has won us this game? So we had against the Bears, we had the Cameron Dantzler fumble return. Patrick Peterson, I believe this is his 2nd time sealing a victory on an interception this season. 2nd interception of the game. I mean, come on, Vikings. Is this not the best roster? Is this not the best Vikings atmosphere we have seen ever? It is for me. I watched many Viking seasons. I watched the 2009 Viking season. It looked like a very, very winnable season. I watched the 2017 Viking season. A little bit different. It was a interesting season. It was more of a Cinderella story than anything else. I mean, the Minneapolis Miracle bailed us out to keep our drive going for the Minnesota Vikings. This is the greatest start, the greatest first half to a season I have ever seen with the Vikings. Beating the Buffalo Bills, who many consider to be the best team in this league, in OT. And it shouldn't even have gone to OT. Vikings find another weird way to win. But this time, it is not against a bad team. It is against who many consider to be a great team. And it was just big play after big play. I'm going to miss some in this because I didn't prepare for this episode. I'm just coming off of watching it. You can maybe hear my voice being a little bit, oh, yeah, we can't miss this. CJ Ham finds the end zone. First rushing touchdown since his rookie season, I believe. First rushing touchdown in 5 years. 1 yard rushing touchdown. That's our boy. Best fullback in the league. Hammer freaking time. Hammer time. Our boy, our man, best fullback in the league, finds the end zone one again. The secret ingredient to Dalvin Cook's success. A secret ingredient to this Minnesota Vikings success as an offense, to this success as a win, is another player we're going to mention here, where we have to talk about TJ Hawkinson. I mentioned how Justin Jefferson was going to be the last one I was going to talk about. I just have to keep going because there were so many big players in this game. Justin Jefferson, player of the game. We're going to obviously give it to him. You can say Patrick Peterson. You can say, I don't know, Eric Hendricks, because he came up with that fumble that led the Vikings to that touchdown that somehow put them back in the game. I mean, just big play after big play. Who would have expected this whatsoever? Absolute insanity of a game. The most insane regular season game I have ever witnessed. TJ Hawkinson, one of the best trades I've ever witnessed with this Vikings team, just gave up a second-round draft pick at the end of the day. Comes up big time once again, had 9 receptions in his first game as a Viking. Second game, 7 receptions with some big-time third-down conversions. KJ Osborne sneaks his way into the miss. 4 receptions for 35 yards. Should have been 5 receptions. One was brought back from a holding on Christian Darrisaw that just simply did not happen. I mean, it was like everybody in this Vikings team had a good day. Well, everybody in this Vikings team had a good day except for Ed Ingram. Once again, I mean, we're going into every game every season assuming our right guard is not going to be good because we haven't had a good right guard in a long time. Who even knows the last time we did? Oh yeah, Duke Shelley finds his way into the mix. Comes up with a big time stop. Now, yes, it was mostly Stephon Diggs not being able to come down with the ball, but still, it was a contested catch. So shout out to Duke Shelley. Give him his colors here. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings defense as a whole is just odd. Like every week we let up big time plays to the offense. We let up so many passing and rushing yards to the opposing offense, but somehow come up with victories. Somehow come up with big time turnovers that seal the game, like Patrick Peterson did in this game. Minnesota Vikings 8-1 is such a good feeling. Vikings are here to go all the way. We are here. We are here. We are here. We have arrived. Oh, we haven't beat anyone yet? Yes, we did. We beat arguably the best team in the league in arguably the toughest place to play in the league. And we're going to keep this rhythm going. We're going to keep this rhythm going when we host the Dallas Cowboys the next week. I believe we're playing them at home. After that, we play the Patriots on Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your November. Enjoy this win. It is such a good win. Enjoy this win. Maybe the best regular season win of all time for the Minnesota Vikings. It feels so good. And the Vikings are continuing this rhythm going forward. 7 straight victories, 8-1. Second in the NFC right now. Going for first. The Eagles might have the tiebreaker over us. But at the end of the day, this Vikings rhythm is going to continue. This Vikings hype train will continue. Minnesota Vikings, 2023 Super Bowl. We will be there.